Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Start and DJ tonight. Guys, this is what happens when you start learning Torah. This is how you should start. It should be something more exciting than any movies in the world. You're about to discover the truth. Okay. No, I thought that, before starting a shiur of Torah, that's the type of presentation and excitement we should have. I'm going to turn it off. It's just being short. Okay, now we're ready to learn Torah. This is how you should start. We're watching the true movie of the world. Okay, but I'm going to need people to be quiet, otherwise I'm going to be able to speak. I know you can release to socialize, but sometimes you can socialize even better if you learn deeper Torah. Anyway, because God eventually wants us to socialize with Him. Right? It's called davening. Okay, so good to see all the new faces. Very exciting, and my goal tonight is to share with you deep stuff, obviously to change your life. Because if it's Torah, it has to change your life. It can't be just another boring, teaching, or it can be inspiring, but nothing really changes. Okay, so I want to bring out a concept that we started speaking about I think 2-3 weeks ago, and I wanted to start with that, and then we're going to go into Pesach and the preparation for Pesach and try to go on a deeper level. Okay, so if you remember, guys, I cannot have you talk in the same time because I cannot concentrate. It's for me, it's very disturbing. So if you want to talk, go there or in the kitchen, in the bathroom, outside. Just it will help me. I know it's very hard, but it has been scientifically tested that you can actually stay silent for 45 minutes and still survive, even though you are ADD or ADHD or any of the so-called diagnoses that people say you have. The truth is, Rabbi Daniel Katz, one of my favorite today meditation teachers, says that actually if you have ADD or ADHD, whatever the thing, OCD or whatever, you actually can meditate even better than others. So don't be fooled by all those diagnoses and things that doctors say. I'm not against doctors, I'm a social worker, I work with people with trauma or everything, but we have to understand that sometimes we misunderstand the problem and read the problem is a solution, okay? So going to our main topic, what's the main topic that we'll start with is about the fact that you as a human being have the ability to understand the world on a much deeper level than you might ever have thought you could. What do I mean by that? So, for those who know or don't know about Kabbalah, we have something called the 10 spheres. Okay? I like picture, I'm very visual. Okay, that's the 10 spheres. This is, as if I will show you one of the DNA structure, of, whatever, from the human being or from a plant, or it's as if I will show you, the molecule, atoms, electrons that exist in the universe. Basically, when God created the world, He created the DNA of the world. This is the DNA of the world. Okay? And that's why God created the world with the system. He used 10 energies to create the world. Those are called the 10 spheros. If you ever ask yourself, why do I have 10 fingers? I'm wondering, a coincidence of nature? I don't think so. Because if there's a God, there's no coincidence of nature, and it's called not coincidence of how many fingers you have. Because technically, you could say, just 4 fingers is enough. But then you will be able to learn and do that. No, just kidding. That's for yeshiva joke. Anyway, but the idea is you have 10 powers with which God created the world, and this structure represents the 10 Asara Ma'amarot, which is the 10 energies, words, or sayings that, or how to say, statement with which God created the world, and that's why there were 10 tests that Abraham had. That's why there were 10 Makos in Egypt, 10 plagues, and that's why there were 10 commandments at Har Sinai, and that's why you have 10 fingers and 10 toes. Don't forget about the toes, not nice. Okay, the idea is that everything with 10 corresponds to a perfect structure. Now, we'll understand a bit later why it is important, but and also as part of Pesach. But first, let's understand that the human being, right? So those 10 powers correspond to human being, right? Human being has 3 spherot, or midot, or character traits, or characteristic, or powers, or energies, different ways to put it, correspond to the head, and 7 correspond to the body, right? So anything that is 7, like 7 days a week, for example, or 7 colors of the rainbow, or 7 notes of music, or I forgot all the 7. So there's tons of 7 where they correspond to the body, the structure of the body. And anything that is 3, Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, I can't think of something right now, but anything that is as pair of 3 is usually correspond to the head. Or when you make a child, is the father, the mother, and God, the combination of 3. Or if you want to play the Christian, you say Trinity. But anyway, we're not getting there, because Julie is going to get too excited about her J T-shirt. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that the human being is comprised of the entire structure. Let me ask you, how many commandments are there in the Torah?
613.
All right, you good Jewish souls, and you know in Cheder V'Leilot Baruch Hashem. 613, Baruch Hashem. Now, the question is, did you ever ask yourself why 613?
6 and 1 is 7 and 3 is...
Well, that too. 6 plus 1 plus 3 equals?
9.
No. I think you should go back to elementary school, or you had too many drinks. Anyway, 6 plus 3 plus 1 is 10, because the only reason we have 613 commandments is to be able to fulfill the 10 commandments, or the 10 spheres, obviously. Otherwise, who cares about 613? It's all the head chapters and the details. Now, 613 commandments. Did you ever hear something like, how the 613 commandments split? 2, there's the mitzvot aseh, mitzvot lo aseh, right? The positive and negative commandments. How many are each one?
240.
Close. 248. 248 positive commandment, and 300. Guys, I think we have to go back to Cheder. And 365 negative commandments. Now let me, a little bit, we have an accountant here. 365 plus 248 equals 613. Okay, that's fine. So we have 613 commandments. And let me ask you, how many main organs in the body do we have? 248. Oh, that sounds familiar, no?
Oh.
Okay, right? And
65 days in a year.
Oh, 365 days a year. Maybe it's a coincidence also. And how many tendons or sinews do we have in the body? 365. Really? Wow, what a coincidence. Wow. So you're telling me that my body It's connected to the 365 days of the year. It's connected to the 613 commandments in the Torah, and the Torah is the DNA of the world, and the world is made of 613 parts. There's another thing that they say that actually in Gan Eden, do you know how many trees were in Gan Eden? Give a guess.
613.
Yes, 613 trees in Gan Eden. Wow. You know, it looks like we're getting somewhere. There's a lot of connection. So what's going on? What's going on? What's going on is that the human body, you see, this body, this nice, beautiful French body, I was given by God. Nothing, I didn't do anything for it. Just a gift from God. You can admire it, you know. But the idea is, the body is a role model, is a microcosm of the entire world. When God says, "Vayitzer Adam," Vayitzer Hashem, Vayitzer Hashem et Adam. I forgot the okay. There's Vayitzer, when God used and created man. It says in Rashi says that he took from all four corners of the world. What does that mean? That means he took from every level of creation. So there's domain sameach, chai, medaber, right? So the minerals, vegetables, animals, and speaking like us. And he took for the four elements: earth, water, air, and fire. So what does that mean? That means that you know who you are really. You represent the entire world. And let me ask you, how many human beings, as a divine soul, were created? No, but close. What?
600,000?
No. Do we read the same Torah? In the Torah, God created the world with how many human beings? One. I mean, it depends. If you want your husband to be someone separate from you, it's okay. But ideally,
they were disconnected.
They were disconnected, but they're still the same soul. Do you know that?
You say two because he made Chava before Shabbos, and Shabbos was when creation officially stopped.
Yes, but originally he was one with her. They were not separated.
Yeah, but
They were one soul, one being.
everybody says other than Chava, it's.
I know, but I don't like when everybody says, because usually everybody says, and you follow the masses, and you realize that really, where is the majority of the Jews? Majority of the Jews are not from. The majority of the Jews stayed in Egypt. 4/5 of the Jewish people stayed there. The majority of the world follows and believes the media. The majority of the world had the COVID vaccine. Well, you said, you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm pro. I'm just giving example. Pro again. I just want to make the discussion spicy, you know. So like Fauci is gonna look at me and he's gonna send a like or not like. Whatever. Anyway, but. The idea is that sometimes what the majority think is not the reality of things, even in Judaism, even in Torah. Okay. Now, what's happening is that we are. I forgot where we left off, but basically we are the. Yeah. So there was one. Thank you. So someone is following. The one human being, and that human being basically has the soul of all the human beings that are here. Not only that, that human being had the ability to transform all of creation from spiritual to physical, because when he made that one choice, the entire universe was transformed from spiritual to physical. Even himself, because he had a body of light. You know, Adam Arishon, I don't know what they told you in Cheder, he was not a physical human being. He didn't have a skin. He didn't need to go to the bathroom. I know it sounds like UFO stories. But the truth is, UFOs might be closer to Adam than we. I mean, what are UFOs? According to some opinions, they are spiritual beings, like angels, that can take a body form, as it says in the Gemara. But I guess they didn't teach you that either in Cheder or in Yeshiva. Because I like to teach whatever they don't teach you usually. But the idea is that Adam Arishon was able to have an impact in the entire world. Why? Because basically he was wired to the entire world. And more than that, and that's the point I want to bring, the world is a reflection of who you are as a human being. The human being is an entire structure. The Beis Hamikdash is designed also to represent that. The Beis Hamikdash represents the human body. Right now in the parashas we speak about the Beis Hamikdash and the Avodah and the Beis Hamikdash, or the Mishkan, right? Do you know that every part of the Beis Hamikdash corresponds to one part of your body? Right? It says the menorah corresponds to the eyes, and then the Torah corresponds to the nose, and the Nechem Apanim table corresponds to the mouth, and then you have the Kruvim, which are the two luchos correspond to the two brains, two sides of your brains, and the pineal gland, which is right in the middle of your brain, the deepest part of yourself, where you say that's the seat of the soul, of the neshama. That's in the Kodesh Kodoshim, where between the Kruvim, where the Torah is. And every part, other part, it corresponds to the body. So really, the Mishkan or the Beis Hamikdash is a reflection, right, of the human body, and the Beis Hamikdash affects the entire world, just like a human being affects the entire world. What I'm trying to say is that really, the world is kind of a hologram of yourself. And this is very important, my friend, because if you know about bitachon and not just bitachon, hashgacha pratis, hashgacha klalis, which has to do with bitachon and emunah, how do I know my mission? How do I know what I have to deal with? How do I change the world? Okay, in Judaism we believe. The Gemara says every man is obligated. Now, I don't mean male, woman. I love every woman just like men. Don't worry, I'm not sexist. Anyway, and the Torah is not sexist. Every human, I'll say human individual. Every individual, every human has the obligation to believe that the entire world was created for him. Chayav, he's obligated to believe that. Do you understand that it means that you all guys were created for me? I'm really happy that you're part of my world. Thank you for coming. No, but the idea is that each one of us has to realize that the entire world really is connected to him directly, is wired to him. That means that we are basically all family, but it's more than that. That everything that I see, and that's the punchline of that concept, that everything that I see outside, that I know outside, I'm conscious of outside of me, is really a reflection of what's happening in me. That means that if I look at the world and I see there's a war in Ukraine and Russia, somehow in me there's a war of Russia and Ukraine. Whatever that war represents, it exists in me. Why is there a war? How come there's something out there in another country that it looks like I have nothing to do with and I cannot do anything about it because I live in America? Okay, we're going to protest, all that. But we know that through speech, just like God created the world, I have the ability to change the world because He gave me the Lashon HaKodesh, the power of speech, to change the world just like Him. Because we're supposed to emulate Him. So God speaks and the world change. I speak and the world change. So one other thing I can do is pray for Ukraine. Now, do you understand that it means that everything that's happening, even the whales that are being chased and killed, they're connected to you? Even the multiple multiverses that exist, the millions of stars, is connected to you. Which part of you does the stars correspond to? The galaxies. Which part of you correspond to the ocean? Which part of you correspond to the Middle East conflict with the Palestinians and the Jews? All this, everything you hear about, is to teach you a lesson about yourself, what's happening in you. What happens is that we're completely disconnected from our world, our reality. Yeah, who cares? It's the Ukrainians or the Russians. I don't care. Okay, that's their problem in China. It's their problem. No, you don't understand. This is your family. Yes, even if they're not Jewish. Well, you start to love first the Jew, because if you can't love a Jew, how are you going to love a non-Jew? Right? Because if you can't love your own family, how are you going to work on loving other people who are not your family? Or some people are going to say, no, it's actually easier to love not your family. Right? But we know it's harder to love the people that are close to you, because if they hurt you, it hurts more. But do you understand that everything is connected to you? That all of you really, when you looked at me, when I entered, you looked at me like I was your brother, or your no, sister, but you were my sister, right?
It's 2023.
23, yeah, I mean, that's true, everything's positive. But the idea, and that issue here of identity, do you think that Adam had an identity crisis? Am I a man, a woman? Am I both? Who is leading? Right? That identity crisis that existed in Adam still exists in us today. Who should be the man in the couple? You have women who are more male energy, and you have men who are more female energy. Who should be more emotional? Who should be more intellectual? We need both, right? So all these problems that you hear, the gay movement and and what's the BLM, Black Lives Matters, Jewish Lives Matters, whatever, everything that exists out there. Why do you think the anti-Semitism that exists in America, that is rising, is becoming like old Germany, right? And Chas v'Shalom, like many say, is going to become like Germany, because we're here in Egypt, in America. Do you know that every generation, meaning each one of us, is going to re-experience everything that it says in the Torah? Because what you learned the Torah, it was 3,000 years ago. How is it going to help you with today's problem? You don't understand. Everything repeats itself. Even non-Jews say, history repeats itself. And you know the worst part of it?
It's true.
We do the same thing again, knowing what it says. So you have the choice to say, hey, no, I don't want to stay in Egypt. I want to go, and I want to be one of the 1/5 that is going to go to Israel. And now you actually, birthright, you get free Aliyah trip, you know? You didn't have that. Actually, it's not true. Hashem took them on the wings of eagles, and, it was a free birthright trip. Instead of Elal, it was Hashem. Hashem's bird, That was the airplane. It was spiritual trip, It's kind of
First class.
First class. Yeah, exactly. So, guys, this is very important. How do you feel about things that are happening in the world matters very much. You want to know how much you're in exile, is how much, meaning what we're going to have Pesach. We're going to need to learn to go out of Egypt. We're going to need to learn to be free. The more you disconnect from the fact that you're connected to the world, that you have an impact with the world, that the world is your family, that you go in the street and that there's a poor guy there, even if he's not a Jewish poor guy, you have a mitzvah to give tzedakah. It's a creation from God. Even the mosquito and the spider that were created, who created me? Who created them? A bad guy? No, God created the spider. So why are we so scared of it? What? The pastor, yeah, but David HaMelech got saved thanks to a spider. So maybe if we were not scared of the spider, then the spider will not bite us or scare us. Because we know that when Adam HaRishon was in Gan Eden, the animals didn't touch him. They venerated him. He could speak with the animals. When Mr. Sneaky spoke with Chava. But I really don't advise you girls to speak to Mr. Sneaky, because it didn't end up well at the end. Okay, so go away from him. But just speak to the nice animals. Right? But the idea is that we really need to understand that the world is a reflection of you. So you know what a hologram is? Right?
Hologram?
What?
Hologram?
Hologram, yeah.
Yeah, it's projection.
Yeah. So imagine that the projection of the world that you have is really a projection of yourself. and that the problem that you see, you hear about, the people you encounter, why did you happen to be friend with that person? Are you friends, sister? Cousins, even better. Why do you happen to be cousins with that with her? Why do you happen to that this is your friend, or this is your boyfriend or girlfriend, or this is your cousin, your sister, your parents? Because this is a reflection of that you have to be interacting with those people, because those people are essential to what's happening inside of you, for you to become one, for you to create a world of harmony. Can you create harmony in every interaction that you take, in every situation, in every moment? That's our challenge. Our challenge is, and that's Pirkei Avot, I don't have my thing, I don't like to quote, I'm not good at quoting by heart. But what's the Pirkei Avot, second chapter, first Mishnah, says, what is the derech that the man should choose to go towards? And he says like that. Actually, the Messiah Shalom says the same thing at the end of the Hagdama, that your path has to be a path that when you choose to do an action, when you do something, it has to bring beauty to an honor to yourself and to the others. I'm giving a simple example. It's Shabbos. I'm driving. I want to show Hashem. I don't want to be late. I love Shabbos. I want to do it on time. So I'm driving crazy in my GTR. No, the rabbis don't have GTRs. But as I'm driving in my Toyota, my Jewish car, and and I mean, one day maybe rabbis will have GTR. I mean, that's on my list when Moshe comes. Because I've got to be quick to go to yeshiva today. No. Anyway, but the idea is when the guy is driving and he's going fast and he wants to do a mitzvah and he thinks he does a mitzvah and he has good intention, but as he goes at 60 or 70 miles per hour on a 30 zone, and there's a little girl crossing the street. And they're 30 points, and there's a grandma going there, and then so people are going to see you, and you're going to be a chilul Hashem. You're not going to be in harmony. So yeah, to your perspective, it looks nice. Oh, I want to do fast, but you're not in harmony with the rest of the world. It's just in your mind. You have to be mindful about everything that's happening around you, so that when the grandma sees you driving, and she goes, "What a sweet boy, he's driving carefully," right? And when the girl is there, she has time to cross it. She's not scared. And anybody who sees you, or a non-Jew that sees you, say, "Oh, look, those Jews, they respect the speed limit." No, I take the driving as an example because we are terrible at driving well. I'm a Jew, I deserve to be first, No, you have to be very careful. And, even the gaiva that we Jews have of being Jewish and they are not Jewish. Should we have gaiva? Should we be arrogant about it? Should we feel like I'm the chosen one? Sorry. I don't think so. I don't think that's what God wants. God hates gaiva. The moment you think you're better than someone else, already you throw Hashem out of your soul, out of your body, right? You need complete humility. That means loving every human being, respecting every human being, and not thinking that you're better than them. Now you might have...
But aren't we supposed to be proud that we're
Yes, proud. They can be proud and not have gaiva. It's very different. You have something that the non-Jew doesn't have. Doesn't make you better. Gives you more responsibility. With great power comes... Even Spider-Man knew it. So, sometimes you learn stuff from Spider-Man and not from the Jews. But the truth, he took it from the Torah. But you understand that I need to recognize that the problems of the world are my problem. If I have a friend who is sick or is depressed, that's my problem. That means there's a part of me that's also sick and depressed. Because obviously, if I have real empathy and I really love people, I'm going to feel what you feel. And therefore, that means that part of me is in pain because you are in pain. Because we are the same. We're one body, one soul. All the souls come from Adam HaRishon.
Should it be like that?
It should be like that. Because the goal is that we're all happy, but how can we be all happy if one is not happy? All for one, one for all.
The interview that you posted with Daniel Katz.
Yes.
He said that he has to like step away because now like he got sick because of feeling what other people are feeling.
Well, that's true, because you need to be able to take care of yourself, and maybe, again, you have to know how much is too much. Meaning you have also your own identity that you need to protect. You need to love yourself. He didn't love himself enough, right? So you can love others, but if you love others at the expense of not loving yourself, it's called burnout. As social workers, they speak a lot about that in therapy. You know how many therapists, they I don't know what they do at night, but a lot of therapists, it's very hard for them after speaking to a few suicidal people or depressed people all day. They become a bit depressed themselves. So you have to love the world, but you're also part of the world, and you have your own identity, right? We're still different, even though we were one. We're still different. So the whole idea, right? And the reason I wanted to bring back that point is because it's so important to understand. I think it's such it changes everything. It's a very powerful truth that we are connected to the entire world, and the world is a reflection of you. So it basically means, because we're in a world today, the whole young generation. I teach in the yeshiva, and I see the young generation, the one even younger than you. They say, I don't care. I don't care about anything. What the Gemara says, that before Moshe comes, there is tremendous chutzpah, but again, the reason this comes also is because they were never told to connect to Judaism or to Torah or to the world in an authentic way, in a deep way, because they don't teach that in yeshiva, right? Because the Yetzer Hara, the Satan, has made a very good job in hiding the secrets of the Torah, making you think that you have to be 40 or a super tzaddik. But all the Mekubalim of today, they all agree that now is the time to learn the deep stuff, to understand why. Because in the world of knowledge and internet and GPT chat, you need to understand the secrets of the Torah and understand why you're doing. Because kids don't want to do anymore something that doesn't make sense. Daddy, why are we Jewish? Because God said we should be Jewish. But you chose, I didn't choose. The kids can't stand that type of reason. They want to know why. I want to know, do you know, guys, why you're Jewish? Why you were born from a Jewish mother? Why you are not the...
Didn't you say last time that we were all born not Jewish?
That we were born...
Not Jewish?
Right, that's correct.
Okay.
So, but why, so if you are born not Jewish, why were you selected to have that super soul and the Mexican guy there didn't? You think you're married more than him? The truth is, they make very good tacos, better than yours. I mean, I didn't try yours, so I shouldn't say that. But the idea is, the only reason you're born from a Jewish mother is because you converted in the past. And once you convert, your soul comes back as a Jew. So we understand that really at the beginning we're all the same. We're all not Jewish. There was no Jews. There was even no need for Jews, because Jews only were chosen to save the world, to be a light to the nation, to show people Mazel Tov. He just got engaged. We know where we say Mazel Tov and we celebrate because now he's finished. So we just want to make sure that he doesn't feel too bad. Yeah, he's done. His wife, his soon-to-be wife has him, and no escape. He doesn't know that getting married is like the hardest thing in the world. But it's okay, Mazel Tov. It's okay. I'll be there if you need it. It should be easy and smooth. It's the best thing in the world, really, because it's the other side of you. By the way, that's what Adele means. There's a side of you that I never knew. That's your that's soulmate. Yeah, because that's the side of Adam. Was the other side, Say that. Right? So that's the side of you that you never knew, because once you see who she is or he or who he is, you say like, I wouldn't think that this is part of me, so different. Right? Anyway, it's not about marriage today, but it's important to realize that we are in a world today where we need to understand why we do things, and we need to go in the Pnimius HaTorah, and we need to change, because right now we're going like that. We're losing everyday Jews, right, to assimilation, to a lack of proper education, and a lot of divorce, a lot of problems, and that means we're not doing such a good job, right? And we need to be, you are the future generation, and based on how you're going to look at the world and how you're going to educate your children and what you're going to teach them and how deep you are and how spiritual you are, that's what's going to keep you out of it. The way you're going to teach your children about why they're Jewish is going to make a huge difference. And if you choose to raise your children in Israel, that's going to make an even greater difference. You know. So, any question on that idea of a man that the world is a hologram? Well, I think every day when you hear about something, let me ask you a question. When the two American boys got shot, right, or stabbed or shot, I forgot, in Uama, what was the name again of that city? In Israel.
Hawara?
What?
Hawara.
Yeah, Hawara. When the two boys got killed, two men, the boy and his brother, when they got shot by the terrorists, did you cry? Or you say, oh, just another terrorist attack, it's terrible. Do you understand how disconnected we are? If it was your brother, would you cry? I think so. But the problem, we were not connected. The fact that I couldn't even shed a tear, even if I wanted, it's like I want to feel connected. But you know, for me, one of my I did 8 birthright trips. I went many times to Israel, and I always thought, you know, at the hotel, you know, that's where I'm going to feel the Shekhinah. You know, but the place where I felt the most connected was Har Herzl, on the graveyard of all those people who gave their life just for being Jewish. They say, there's one big rabbi, I forgot who said that, the one big rabbi said, you want to get a bracha from tzaddikim, don't go to the grave of this and this, go to the grave on the Jews who died at Har Herzl. There your prayer will be answered, right? It's not about how much Torah you know or how long your beard is, you know. It's about how much do you love your people and your country and ready to fight for it. That's what a real Jew is. And the Torah definitely helps, and having a long beard could help also, but that's not what makes the Jew a Jew. What makes a Jew is someone who loves his people and loves others and is ready to die for them. Rav Noach Weinberg Zatzal, my rabbi's uncle, he said, if you don't know what you're ready to die for, you didn't even start living. So let me ask you, what are you ready to die for today? Or are you still in Egypt? What are you ready to die for? Are you ready to die for your parents? Most parents are ready to die for their kids. Are you ready to die for another Jew? Maybe. Maybe. I mean, you know, Muslims are ready to die for them to have money for their parents, the jihad. Probably also for the 70 virgins that's waiting for them. But what?
Not the women ones. What are they waiting for?
70 men. Well, no, I don't know. It's a good question.
After that many
That's a good question. That's why probably there's less women than men. It's like, I don't want 17 virgin. Like, what do we do with them?
Like, it's a bad move, you know what I'm saying?
No,
That's
yeah.
goats.
How long are there 17 virgins over?
72.
Right.
So there's more than
Depends on your
70
role.
No, for me, for me, that never make any sense. You can have 70 virgin in this world. What do you have to die for? Right? You understand how stupid it is? Anyway.
It's before they found the oil, Rabbi.
What?
It's before they found the oil.
Oh. I feel. Okay, I might be attacked by the terrorists on the, on this video. But anyway, we have to face the truth. Okay. Any question on that concept? Right? But if I hope you understand that the important is to look at the world and see your body. And sometimes we get sick. Sometimes we feel things in us. Sometimes we feel pain for something that's happening because it's happening inside of you. If you are able to redeem yourself, you're redeeming the world. The craziness of it is that Hashem does that for each one of us individually. Meaning for each one of you, the same thing is happening. The whole world is a reflection of you. And somehow, in me, there's one of you. Just to give you an example, when in me, there is a Moshe Rabbeinu. Meaning there's a part of me that talks and tells me, you gotta take yourself out of Egypt. And there's a voice that's leading me. There's a part of me that is Avraham Avinu and say, we gotta do more chesed. You gotta show people. You gotta bring people food, pizza at the bakehouse, so they're gonna learn Torah and recognize God. So Avraham is very happy with me now. It's like I'm connected with Avraham. Avraham is not someone else. Avraham is part of me. He's part of my world. The whole history. So we're talking about, right? The history corresponds to, well, first you have 7,000 years of history, right? So, and we know every Sephirah corresponds to the Avos, the 7 Ushpizim: Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, Yosef, and David. And therefore, and we know that every part of the Sephirah corresponds to a different part of your body. Abraham corresponds to the right arm, Yitzchak to the left arm, Tiferet to the heart or the torso, the right leg, left leg, the sexual organ, and the feet. So, when you're speaking about the Avos in the Torah, you're speaking about part of you and how to use that part of you. You know what my right arm should be doing? You know how you practice chesed? In and out, and in and out, and in. That's your Avraham in you. That's why you're supposed to give your right hand. Why are you giving it with your right hand and not left hand? What kind of spooky stuff is that? We're not in Russia. We're not Bukharian. I mean, some. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. But yeah, where's Karen? Oh, she got scared of my joke with Bukhari. The reason I'm giving with my right hand tzedakah is because my right hand is the Avram in me that is doing chesed. That's why. Right? So we have to understand that everything you learn in the Torah is to teach you what's happening in you and how you can awaken all those parts of you. Because who cares about learning about someone who did chesed 2,000 years ago? Because it's not 2,000 years ago, it's happening right now. Space-time, it's just a kind of illusion. Everything's happening again and again. We say every morning in the davening, he renews every day the moment of creation. This day today is the same day since the beginning of creation. It keeps repeating. Groundhog Day? Yeah, that's what it is. That's what we're living. It's not just a movie. It's the reality. Why do you think God invented Groundhog Day? When Hashem created the world with Adam and Rishon, do you think there will be a TV with a movie and Hollywood and Groundhog Day? The movie happens inside of you too. It's a teaching to teach you that the world really is a constant opportunity to fix what you didn't fix yesterday, to become better than yesterday. But really, yesterday and today is the same day. I just relived it, and I had an opportunity to become better than myself.
Is that what deja vu is?
Yeah. Because the real deja vu, not the drug deja vu, Yeah, I took LSD. I had a lot of deja vu. That's a bit different. You should calm down on the smoking pot. Just chill. Now sometimes, they say people nowadays they heal people with psychedelic, and so you do it the right way. Actually, even Rabbi Daniel Katz actually spoke about, in certain situations it's not the best way, because our rabbis and the Arizal and all the big Mekubalim, they didn't use drugs, because by the way, you know that all the drugs that you can find them inside your brain. You can create all those chemicals. You know that the moment you die is like when you have the highest orgasm. Because basically your pineal gland is what releases the DMT. If you would take DMT, ayahuasca, or ayahuasca, it's a DMT that's in the plants, but really your pineal gland secretes DMT, and when you die, it releases the highest power. Anybody who had a Kundalini experience? No, or DMT, right? So, that's connected. You go into a different state of consciousness, right? It's like you die, and you're in touch of the entire universe, and but all this is connected to the entrance of Gan Eden, whatever. I'm not going to speak about that. It's too complicated. But the idea is, you understand that we are we're able to connect to all those different states. Is all happening in you, and the way you experience the world is going to be the way you're going to experience yourself. You have to understand you're much more than just a human being. You're the map of the world. Now, be careful, you can become arrogant. So, control the whole world. And that's why Hashem, the greatest thing that Hashem wants in a human being, the greatest midah, like Moshe Rabbeinu was Eved Neiman, he was the most humble man in the world. The more humble you are, the closer you are to God. But I don't understand, how can you be so great and so humble? Well, that's the challenge. If you understand that everything is from Hashem, but God gave you power to change everything, as long as you know that everything you happen, the reason I can think now or give a shiur or drive a car or do anything and be smart is only because Hashem gave you at that moment that ability. And if He wants, He can make you completely dumb. Right? So, as long as you're aware of that, then Hashem wants to be with you and you affect the world. If you you think you're the master of the world, God remove Himself from you and you have no power. And you become disconnected from everyone. And you end up with your little Russia or ego trip. Oh yeah, I have $2 billion on my account. I can change the world. That's illusions, right? So anyway, that was. Let's start the shiur now. Okay, that was just an intro. Okay, so we're going to split it in two. Don't worry, we're not going to make it